We are stepping into the month of February 2026, and boy, oh boy, friends, it's going to be a wild roller coaster ride from this point forward. We're stepping into eclipse season, Mercury retrograde, wild transits and energies are going to have us looking back in complete disbelief. So what does the month of February hold for us, our future, and the future of our amazing planet Earth? Well, like anything, friends, February is going to have both its pros and its cons. Things that we really need to be aware of so we can take advantage of them. And then those things that we need to be aware of so that we can avoid them like the plague. Mid-month to the latter part of February is going to be accompanied with a lot of delays, mechanical and technological issues, glitches, outages, cyber attacks, and just a whole wild array of events in February. Huge shifts and changes in the markets, big dips in the stock markets, and ups and downs again with precious metals and cryptocurrencies. It's definitely not crypto season, not yet, and not in February. Today, I'm going to break it all down for you, friends, just because I love you so much, starting with the numerology, the important astrological transits and how it's going to affect the collective, and how to flow through it all with ease and with joy. Of course, along with some very specific predictions and visions shared with me by my amazing team of spirit guides for February and beyond. I'm spiritual medium Joseph Tittel. Take a leap with me and a journey into my February 2026 predictions and forecast. Before we get started, a huge happy birthday goes out to all our February Aquarians, and of course, our late February Pisces. Your birthday happens to be the most powerful day of the year if you actually specifically know how to utilize it, which most people do not. So if you have a birthday approaching, I thought about you ahead of time, friends. Be sure to check out my video, The Most Powerful Day of the Year, so that you can take advantage of your birthday and make this the best astrological year ever. And once again, a big happy birthday to all those celebrating a birthday in February. Happy birthday to you. February 2026. Finding your voice in a year of new beginnings, friends, because 2026 is a one universal year of new beginnings and new starts. Everything should have been left behind in 2025. February 2026, that carries the expressive creative energy of the 3 universal month in numerology, unfolding within this whole bold initiation of this one universal year. A one universal year, of course, again, is all about new beginnings, leadership, and stepping into this personal authority in your individuality. It's going to ask us to claim our direction and move forward with clear intentions. While as the 3 energy of February is going to add a very important reminder to all this. Beginnings actually gain power when you actually speak them out. When things are spoken, when they're shared, and when they're expressed for others. That's why we do affirmations. It's positive to do affirmations out loud. You can do them on the inside. It's much more powerful when you say them outwardly. You speak them. When things are spoken, it empowers the thoughts. The thoughts are the stem, the seed. The words are what? It's the plant that speaks. You need to speak. Because this month's going to invite you to give your voice to what's emerging within you. Give a voice to it. Because the number 3 is a vibration of communication, creativity, joy, and emotional honesty. It's all about discovering what's going to make you happy this month. And I hope you do well with that. The 3 encourages movement after the stillness of reflection. Last month was all about that reflection. Now, February's energy, that's really good in supporting us when it comes to writing, speaking, teaching, creating, or connecting, especially in ways that feel really authentic instead of ways that are more performative. This is not about impressing other people. It's about expressing truth during this time, around those vibrations of the 1 and the 3. Now, when you allow yourself to be seen and heard, then you truly are. you activate this momentum that literally aligns with a larger purpose of this coming year. Within this universal one, February's 3 vibration acts like a bridge between intention and manifestation. This is, again, we definitely should have started planting our seeds December, but definitely in January as we stepped into this 1 year. It's all about manifesting, and that 3 is going to help you with that. Ideals that were planted earlier in the year or late last year begin to actually take form in dialogue and collaboration this month. Conversations are going to matter more than ever right now this month. Now, remember, when we get towards the end of the month, there's going to be miscommunications because of that Mercury retrograde. So you're going to really want to focus on that communication and communicating things even more so the first 3 weeks and even the first 2 weeks of February. Really, really important because you know how communications and Mercury retrograde can affect those communications. And you do need to communicate with others. Again, this can really reinforce things really strongly for you. It can reinforce old patterns and open up entirely new paths. Choose language and words that actually empower you, words that encourage you, words that uplift you, that start from within. Don't use words that sabotage you. Don't say, I'm trying. Say, I am doing. I am making it happen. Trying is a bad word. Don't say it's going to be hard. Say it's going to be challenging. When we say it's going to be hard, you're copping out on it automatically. These are words that are purposely meant to sabotage you. Couldn't, shouldn't, won't, don't, all bad words. Focus on words again this month in a language that really empowers, encourages, and uplifts you and those around you. The month also carries this lighter, more playful undertone, and especially the first few weeks. The 3 energy reminds us that joy is not a distraction from our actual purpose. It's actually the fuel for it. Like they say, do what you love to do, and you'll never work a day in your life, and you get paid for it. Creativity is going to thrive in this time period. Creativity thrives, especially when there's room for a little bit of curiosity and a little bit of experimentation. Get out. Be experimental. It's okay to do things new. This is the time to do it. And I know it might be cold for some of you on the, northern half of the planet. Get out there. February is going to encourage you to really explore and to do so without overcommitting to things. To try something new without demanding that it has to be perfect. Things like laughter, beauty, art, inspiration, all these things can help dissolve any kind of fear that you may be dealing with, any type of self-doubt, making space for confidence to grow naturally. Ultimately, February 2026 asks a very simple, profound question. That question is, are you willing to express who you are becoming? Because in the 1 universal year, you are not meant to follow those old scripts. Again, that should have all been left behind last year. In the 3 universal month, you are not meant to stay silent. It's all about communication and speaking up. So let this be the time that you really speak your truth, that you share your ideas, and you engage with life openly. What you express now is literally going to set the tone, not just for the month, but for the journey ahead in the future and for the rest of this year. Let February reminder and be a reminder to all of us that our voice really truly matters. Your creativity has a purpose, and your willingness to express yourself, that is a very, very powerful act of leadership. So get out there, friends, and be that leader. In your affirmation for February 2026 to help you flow through this with ease and joy, I confidently express my truth and allow my voice to open new beginnings. My creativity flows freely. My words carry clarity and purpose. And by being authentically myself, I attract the opportunities meant for me. Again, I confidently express my truth and allow my voice to open new beginnings. My creativity flows freely. My words carry clarity and purpose. And by being authentically myself, I attract the opportunities meant for me. Hallelujah. To help you flow through the month of February with even more ease and joy, as I do each month, I prepare a list of do's and don'ts revolved around that vibration, which happens to be the 3 vibration of February. Starting first with the things you definitely need to do. And most importantly, is to express yourself honestly. Remember, a 3-month thrives on authentic communication. So speak truth, and speak truth gently, but be very clear in your words. Take time to do some writing, share, create, and allow your voice to evolve. What you express in the month of February is really going to help you to define who you are becoming in the future. The second important do is to create things, but to do so without pressure. This is a powerful time to create and explore. Creative exploration. This is the month, friends. This is the month, and we'll repeat the same vibration when we get to November too, so you know. So start projects, experiment with some ideas, and play with some expression without demanding perfection or immediate results. Joy fuels momentum when we are vibing in the 3 vibration. Remember that. Also remember, an important do is to connect and to collaborate. February favors meaningful conversations and inspired collaboration with other folks. This is a time to reach out, friends. To reach out, to reconnect, and to allow your ideas to grow through dialogue and through conversation. Remember, the right conversations that you have can open a whole bunch of unexpected doors. But you have to have the right conversations and be willing to have those conversations. You also definitely want to lighten your energy a bit. How do we do that? Laughter. Laughter, beauty, music, dance, inspiration are all literally medicines for the month of February in that 3 vibration. Let yourself just get out and enjoy life, friends, and don't feel a damn bit guilty about it either. No. A lighter spirit always allows clarity and confidence to emerge naturally. So, do speak to yourself with kindness. As I said earlier, be kind to yourself. Inner dialogue matters just as much as the outer dialogue in our words. What you think is very powerful. Your thoughts are literally the blueprints to your future. When we speak those thoughts, they become even more powerful. The 3 vibration is literally a powerful time to speak that. So encourage yourself. Replace your self-criticism with a little bit of curiosity, and your inner voice is going to literally set the tone for everything else. So let that inner voice be light and kind and gentle. Now moving on to the very important do nots, the don'ts for February. First, don't overtalk or overshare. Don't that drive you nuts when somebody overtalks you and they're too busy thinking about what they're saying to you instead of listening to what you're saying to them. Don't be one of them people. Do not overtalk. Do not overshare. Share for sure. Definitely talk, but don't overdo it. A 3-month encourages communication, friends. But not all words need to be spoken. Not everything on your mind needs to be said. Pause a little bit before reacting, especially as we get to the latter part of the month in that Mercury retrograde. You got to watch your words. People will twist them and then misinterpret them. And then you won't want to speak your words again. You'll be shy. So pause before making any reactions to other words. Choose clarity over noise and intention over being impulsive. Another do not. Don't let your energy scatter around. I've seen people's energy bounce off walls, literally like all these balls of energy flying off them. And it's really easy to say yes to too many ideas in a 3-month or say yes to too many things in a 3-month. Don't overdo it. Focus on what really truly excites you and aligns you. Direction matters, friends, especially when we're in a one universal year. And always ask yourself, too, will this bring me joy and happiness, or does this bring me joy and happiness? If the answer is yes, then you are aligning perfectly with those vibrations. If the answer is no, then what the heck you doing? Turn around and go the other way. And don't speak from emotion without a little bit of reflection first. Especially, again, I can't stress this enough when we get to that Mercury retrograde. Emotions get in the way with Mercury retrograde and people, and that's why the miscommunications and all that gets really tense during that time period. So think about it first. Don't speak from emotion. Reflect on it. Emotions are very heightened in the month of February, especially the latter part when we get into that whole Pisces season coming up. So honor those emotions, but don't let temporary feelings literally dictate permanent decisions. Let emotions inform. Don't let them control you. Beware. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. It's also important that we don't seek validation outside of ourselves. You don't need outside validation, especially in that 3-month, because the 3-month can really tempt us to perform and do things for approval, to get other people to say, something that makes us feel better. Going back to those emotions. Remember, your worth is not measured by people's applause. Not at all. Authentic expression is always more powerful than actually pleasing people. Don't silence yourself out of fear. The opposite trap of oversharing is self-censorship. If something feels true and aligned, allow yourself to express it. Remember, growth requires courage, always. And you have that courage. You have that strength. And that 3 vibration helps bring that in. So closing on our insight at that February 3 universal month, it's going to remind us again that words create worlds. What you speak, what you think, what you write, what you share carries a creative vibration and energy to it. And it causes those things to manifest into our lives. So when expression is aligned with integrity, joy, and self-awareness, it becomes a catalyst for new beginnings. So use this month of February to literally refine your voice, uplift your spirit, and communicate from a place of truth. You'll be glad you did. And you will flow through this month following those do's and don'ts with so much ease and so much joy. Now let us peer to the sky and the stars to see which astrological alignments that we can take advantage of in the month of February, how it's going to affect the collective and the global events, of course, as well, so that we can flow through it with ease and joy. February 1st, we have full moon in Leo opposite Mars in Aquarius. That's a big one, kicking off the month of February. You're feeling, I don't know when you're watching this, but I'm recording this on the 30th. It'll go up online on the 31st of January 2026. We've been feeling it for days prior. And we were feeling it since the last full moon. Did you notice how sensitive people were since the last full moon? Especially since Mars went into Aquarius. That made people sensitive for some reason too. Very defense mode in comments and such. It's been very interesting. Now this full moon and this whole thing, the lunation of this full moon is going to light up the Leo-Aquarius axis. This is a very powerful polarity between heartfelt expression, which is Leo, and this collective innovation or rebellion, which we see happening, which has to do with Aquarius. Now, opposing Mars and Aquarius, this is when emotions are going to feel really intense, bold, even urgent, especially around things like conflict, leadership, people get mad at leaders, visibility, and community structures. When it comes to things showing up on a global scale with this is when we'll see courageous leaders and courageous people stepping forward with a voice. So that would be like whistleblowers, people, even celebrities that probably should keep their mouth shut, but will step up. And some of them may say something powerful and with some momentum is the word I'm looking for. But yes, courageous public voices and movements will begin to rise. That's when we're going to start seeing major protests. We see some here in the United States, things quieted down a little bit across the globe, but they're about to get very, very loud once again. This full moon is just the start of it. Wait till we get to the latter part of February. Also, performative leadership may face some scrutiny around this time in the first 14 days actually of February. And communities might push for some transparency and some truth, and we need more transparency. To help you flow through this full moon, speak your truth, friends. Speak your truth, speak it with clarity, speak it with compassion. Channel passion into creative expression, not conflict. Visibility now isn't just all about being seen, but it's also about being understood. And remember, full moons are all about getting rid of and clearing things on those levels as well. That's why emotions often come up during different full moon cycles, especially Mercury retrogrades. They come up so that we can face those emotions and finally release them. Use this February 1st full moon which is also the snow moon, as a way of releasing what needs to be released, especially emotions. Remember, everything starts with energy. From the energy, it goes to emotion, and from emotion, it goes to the physical. When we get sick or go to the hospital or a doctor, they always start at the top, the physical. They never go down to the energy or the emotions. We need to heal through the energy and the emotions. Full moon can help us with that by releasing things. Use that to the best of your advantage. On February 3rd, we have Uranus stationing direct in the bull-headed sign of Taurus. And the collective vibe here is Uranus, the planet of revolution, disruptions, of course, and sudden insights. This is going to turn direct after months of introspection through the sign of Taurus. Themes around things like money, scrutiny, values, technology, and systems that begin moving forward again with this whole new renewed energy. And how this could show up for us on a global scale, of course, is economic and financial innovations may begin to accelerate. Although when I get to my specific predictions, I'll tell you more about the economy and the huge ups and downs that are going to come from it. But again, this transit can really help with the economic and financial innovations. We definitely need them. We're going to see surprises in the markets, and this transit will definitely help bring and initiate these big surprises in the markets. The markets, big surprises in tech, resource sectors are also very possible, and innovation is going to become practical rather than conceptual. To flow through this and to help you make it easy and joyful, release all those old ideas about security and needing to feel so secure. Be open to these new approaches on how to work, how to invest, and how to live sustainably. This is a time of literal invention, reinvention. Invention, reinvention. That's what we'll call February 3rd's transit. Invention, reinvention. On February 6th, we have Mercury going into the watery sign of Pisces and the emotional sign of Pisces. Mercury moves into Pisces February 3rd, inviting intuition, dreaming, empathy, and this nonlinear cognition into our thinking and our communication. The mind is much less analytical and more receptive to meaning beyond logic. So how this is going to show up on the global stage? Things like messages, media, the narratives. Those narratives, friends. Those narratives may lean more towards emotional impact. So I would tell you that when this kicks in, avoid what you're seeing on the internet. Avoid what you're hearing on the news. Don't jump to conclusions right away, because a lot of things, especially with mass media, are going to be put out on purpose simply to ignite your emotions, to impact your emotions. They know these alignments just as well as we're sharing them today, maybe even better. And you don't think they take advantage of these transits and numbers and all? Of course they do. Of course they do. So again, messages, media, and narratives are going to lean towards emotional impact, spiritual themes, and even a little bit of, or a whole lot of, artistic expression. It's going to be interesting because there's going to be a lot of blurring of the facts. And we're going to have to use a lot of discernment when we get into this transit. To flow through it, make sure that you listen deeply before responding. And this is also when we're stepping into the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. So definitely listen deeply before responding and write with your heart, react with your heart, use meditation, journaling, do some reading, and the creative things that you need to do to process your ideas and your feelings. Remember, creativity helps us through that. Especially, when you're having negative emotions, find a creative project to jump into. Do some writing or journaling, and will help you flow through all those things with ease and joy. On February 10th, we have, just in time for Valentine's Day, Venus entering the sign of Pisces. Why just in time for Valentine's Day? Well, Venus in Pisces will literally soften hearts. It softens hearts and it deepens connections. So things like empathy, beauty, artistic inspiration, and compassion all take center stage when it comes to relational dynamics. So how is this going to show up globally? Hopefully in positive ways. Cross-cultural connections can begin to strengthen. Humanitarian efforts and art initiatives gain a whole bunch of momentum during this time period. Things like music, beauty, and compassion become focal points when it comes to the public sentiment. We need that. And that'll be a time. That'll be a time probably when people will start wanting to protest more, to rise up, plugging into that heart energy. And to flow through this, just remember, friends, be gentle to your heart. Be gentle to your heart. Let your creativity and your love guide things like collaboration. Seek unity, not division. We have enough division happening on the planet right now that we do not need anymore. So focus on unity, friends. And it's all, again, just in time for Valentine's Day. How perfect. On February 11th, oh, hold on tight, friends. This is when the roller coaster ride really begins to take off for February and March. Because on February 11th, Mercury retrograde pre-shadow begins in the sign of Pisces. Yep. Mercury begins its pre-shadow on February 11th. A period of preparation where themes related to the upcoming retrograde start to blend into our daily lives. So that affects the collective and ways where old conversations may reappear in your life. Not always good conversations either. Exes may float back in, or old friends may pop back into your life again. Remember, it's so that we can face these things. That's one thing retrograde Mercury can help us do. It can help us face emotions and things so that we can clear them once and for all. And remember, this is when the miscommunications could really kick in. Miscommunications could increase if we are in a rush. Slow down. Do not rush. This is the time to start slowing down until we get to almost the end of March. Slow down, or otherwise Mercury causes delays anyway. So you're not going to get anywhere very quickly. And if you do, hallelujah for that. That's a blessing. Intuitive insights often surface before logic catches up. So watch what you say, watch your words. People will take things the wrong way. You can flow through this really easily, or not necessarily easily, but much easier if you slow down. Slow down your decisions, clarify messages, and revisit plans before committing to those. Don't even think about it first. Use this time for review. It's a time, like I said, to double and triple check things, review things before launching. And maybe not launching at all, because Mercury retrograde is not a time to start new things. It's a time to finish things that you haven't got done. It's only the pre-shadow. On February 13th, we have Saturn entering the sign of Aries. Saturn, of course, the planet of structure. It's a planet of structure, discipline, accountability, and it's entering the sign of Aries, blending Saturn's seriousness with the sign of Aries, which is literally pioneering. It's an energetic spark that ignites on that date. This transit lasts through April 2028. It's a long one, friends. And it marks this very long-term shift in how we structure things, leadership, individual responsibilities, and how this is going to end up showing up on a global level is going to be institutions, governments, and leaders are going to be put to the test. They're going to be put to the test when it comes to authority, accountability, which you all agree. There's a lot of accountability that needs to happen and a hell of a lot of corruption still that needs to be weeded out and dealt with. So this is going to help with that. And it's all about authentic leadership. And it's going to be called out because we want authentic leaders. We don't want these people that are doing everything under the laws of the puppeteers that stand in the shadows. Systems are going to be restructured. They're going to be restructured for efficiency and for integrity. It all starts with this transit. So to flow with it, step into some leadership. And step into leadership with responsibility. Build discipline to match your drive. Remember, patience plus courage equals long-term impact. On February 17th, friends, this is when it gets real. This is eclipse season, a very powerful, intense season we are stepping into, and you're already feeling it. If you're watching this from February 1st, full moon on, you're feeling it already. Eclipse season. And it's the solar eclipse and the new moon in Aquarius. And we are truly in the Aquarian age, friends. Solar eclipses are powerful turning points. Powerful turning points that accelerate shifts and reveal all these new paths for us. Shining the light once again. And this Aquarius eclipse is going to highlight themes like community, collective innovation, technology, and social evolution. Yeah, and maybe revolution on top of that, because there's definitely a revolution that's coming. Not civil war, but civil revolution is more like it. There's going to be breakthroughs in social movements, technology, equality, and systems that change are going to completely unfold between now and 2028. Sudden revelations or sudden reorientations and how groups actually organize and collaborate are going to surface. It's going to be interesting, especially utilizing things like technology and internet in a new fashion for organizations and people being able to organize. To flow through this, remember to set your intentions. Set your intentions for community impact and for your own collective growth. Remember, eclipses remove what no longer serves to make space for the new. The eclipse is basically coming in and cleaning out your clothes closet so that you can go out and buy a whole new wardrobe. Flow through it. Flow through it. Get that new wardrobe going, baby. Get it going. February 26th and 27th, depending on where you reside on the planet Earth, Mercury retrograde begins. That's where it really gets real, friends. This is when earthquake activity begins. Well, actually, that earthquake activity will start to heighten on the eclipse, actually. But it'll even heighten even more. All kinds of things, weather, everything, when Mercury retrograde begins in the sign of Pisces on the 26th and the 27th of February. And Mercury formally turns, again, fully retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Even the pre-shadow and post-shadow are in Pisces, slowing down communications, travel, and logic precision. But heightened intuition do come in with this. Heightened intuition, heightened compassion. We can use a lot more of that on this earth too, right? And emotional intelligence. Remember the rules of Mercury retrograde direct. Do not sign papers or contracts. Do not commit to things or overcommit to things. Do not start new things. What Mercury retrograde is good for is finishing things that you didn't get finished. To get them done. Get her done, as they say, but don't start new things. Do not buy things that have to be put together or things that are electronic or motorized. You will regret it. And try not, if you can avoid it, to get things fixed that are electronic, motorized, or have to be put together because they won't be fixed correctly. Follow those rules and know that there likely can be delays if you're traveling. Like I'll be traveling and I purposely got the insurance and everything just in case. Better be safe than sorry, as my daddy always said. Now, how this is going to show up globally is we're going to see a lot of media narratives that loop back to earlier stories. They're going to go back to the past. It's the other thing. The past comes up a lot when we're in Mercury retrograde. The past shows up. We also see the truth comes out in people, which is always fun. Always fun to watch that happen. Plans may need to be reevaluated. They should be reevaluated during Mercury retrograde. There's this whole emotional narrative that can be setting its way forward when we hit that Mercury retrograde, that first one of the year, especially around film, music, and cultural movements. These can all also help to inspire us for deep reflection. Remember, to flow through Mercury retrograde, you heard the main rules. Remember to slow down, reframe your thoughts, and revisit creative projects. Revisit things that you didn't finish. Trust intuition, but verify all facts always. Remember, nothing is as it appears to be, especially nowadays. This is a soul language time for us, friends. A soul language time. Expect all that and know that this is going on, and it's all through the month of March too. So hang on tight. It's going to be a doozy. It's only the first one of the year. The one that's going to be even more tense is going to be the one in July into early August. But this is just the start of it. And if you've been following me long enough, I've been talking about these cycles for 15 years or longer. And every year, it's always accurate. They're intense. The energies are intense. But you don't always have to plug in. Remember, unplug for a little while. Again, slow down. Take a little time and watch the miscommunications. Watch what you say. People take things totally out of context in Mercury retrograde. And that is pretty much the important breakdown. There's a lot more going on astrologically with transits in the month of February, but these are the main ones that are going to have the biggest effect on all of us. So follow those transits, follow those guides so that you flow through this month with ease and joy. Before we move on to some very specific predictions and visions for February 2026 and beyond, I want to welcome you all back to my channel. If you're new here and you're a newbie, hey, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Love Shack, baby. I'm spiritual medium Joseph Tittel. If you have not gathered, if you'd like more information out about me and my work, go to my website, josephtittel.com, Tittel, or just go to spiritmanjt.com. That's easier to remember. Too many people spell my name wrong. Spiritmanjt.com works. I'll be coming to the Philadelphia area in March. There's an event that might be sold out by the time you're watching this because all the others have, but you can find that on my website. Sign up for the free newsletter down below so that you get updates so you know where I'm at and what's going on. I have a past life regression workshop coming up in March. I have a messages from the other side. These are all virtual too, by the way, on Zoom. So communicating with deceased loved ones coming up, I believe in March. So keep an eye out for those and join me in these wonderful classes, workshops, and events that I have going on. Or schedule a session with me directly on my website. A thank you to all those supporters of this channel, whether you're a member of the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community, or whether you are a member of the YouTube monthly supporters, and all my subscribers. I couldn't do this without you. I thank you all with infinite love and gratitude. Also, you'll see all the other links to my social media down below and recommended videos, so be sure to check them all out. And thank you so much for hitting that thumbs up love button because it does help the channel. It helps us grow, helps our tribe to get better, bigger. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and you really want to vibe with this awesome tribe that we have here growing, smash that subscribe, the bell, and all. And let us move on with February 2026 Visions and Predictions. Friends, hold on tight, for February is going to be one heck of a roller coaster ride. A shocking turning point for the entire world. We are stepping into eclipse season, Mercury retrograde, and heading towards the first energy shift of 2026. Boy, oh boy, like I said, friends, hold on tight. We are going to see huge economic and market interruptions. We just saw both precious metals and crypto take a huge dive. Something that we're going to be seeing, friends, a lot of in the coming months. Lots of ups and downs like a roller coaster. And in the coming months, we're going to see the Fed, of course, printing more and more money so that they push the dollar into the collapse that they are literally orchestrating as a part of their agenda, them being the globalists, of course. There's a push by both the globalists, the bankers, and leaders. Of course, they want to push us, friends, into that digital currency. But not before robbing many people of trillions of dollars. That's what they do. Precious metals, the good news here is, friends, as Spirit told us, it's a long-term investment. Hold on to it. Buy when it drops and don't let go of it when it rises. Because many people, I guarantee you, are going to regret that they ran out and sold their silver. It will rise again. So don't panic, friends. Don't panic. I assure you. Whereas crypto, especially Bitcoin, that's going to continue flowing in a very volatile market. Big ups and downs. Again, you can buy when it's low, but Bitcoin's not very low. I predicted that Bitcoin would fall really hard, and this is the year I feel that's going to happen. Perhaps down as low as $40,000, $50,000. That would be maybe even a little bit lower. That would be a time then maybe get back into it. But again, a volatile market can cause people to lose a lot of money. Stick with the precious metals, hold on to them. And now that it dropped so low, it's a good time to maybe buy some more. Silver, I predicted, would hit 125 by late January. We almost hit that before we hit the end of January, except January 29th came around and this big crash hit happened. But really, people are like, oh my God, it crashed. No, it didn't, really, because if you bought silver years ago when I told you to, you still made a lot more money. A lot more, especially, buying it at $17 or $20 an ounce. Still, last I looked, at $83, that's 4 times your profit. Can't beat that now, can you? Just hold on to it. And I do feel like, again, silver might go as low as $70. I don't feel like we'll ever see it below that again. If we do, just by a smidge. Because it's going to rise, and once it does up to that $200, $300 level in the coming year, We won't ever see it go below 100 again. That's my feeling as of now. See, what they're not telling you is how much of a shortage there is on silver right now. And somebody obviously did a big, heavy precious metals dump recently. Probably one of the globalists in order to make it all drop. And I bet you they're all buying it up again right now when it's low. Both silver and gold. And other metals too. There's others, platinum. Copper is going to be a big one in the future. And you can't really hold on to the copper because you need a whole house, a whole storage bin, a couple of them to fit all the copper. You're better off investing in copper mining companies. And again, I am not a financial expert. I am a spiritual medium, and this is all for entertainment purposes only. Take it for what it's worth. But the spirits are really accurate, especially with those precious metals years ago, and we were told to invest in them once again. Spirit said, again, it's a long-term investment. The same thing goes with cryptocurrencies. People keep asking me, when's XRP going up? It's not yet. You're going to have to hold on to it for a while. You know what? It just dropped, and I did say that XRP may drop as low as $1.50. I looked this morning, it's at, $1.65? So it's heading there. That'd be a good time to buy. And I just bought a little bit more XRP, XLM, and then there's also Solana and many others that are going to drop, but they would be the ones to buy. This is not a month for crypto, friends. It's a month for it all to go down and to buy it, but not a month for you to profit off of it. Just letting you know. And that probably won't even happen until April, May when it goes up again. Our friends in Japan now, our friends in Japan will also be fighting hard when it comes to their currency and major falls in their markets. February is just the start of this economic roller coaster ride, friends. The economic roller coaster ride of 2026. And the thing is when that roller coaster comes to an end, the tracks just come to a sudden end and we all go falling off. And I feel that likely maybe around October, November is when we're going to see the complete collapse of markets, breaking records across the globe. Maybe the greatest collapse of all time. Some of this will be cyber attack related is my feeling. I feel that we will also soon be seeing banks struggling through this economic crisis. We saw it a few years ago with banks closing down and the bank things that were happening, which was in my predictions. I feel like this is a year where banks are also going to be struggling and condensing and combining, and you'll see a lot of the smaller banks fall. Now in China, I feel China, Japan, and parts of Europe, they are going to have big issues at some point when it comes to withdrawing their money or trying to access their money or access to even precious metals on paper. That's the other thing you got to watch. Told you I don't like that paper thing. I'd rather physically have it. And that's the thing. Everybody with the paper or silver wants to sell it or wants it physically, and banks are scrambling. That's why they had to do something to hurry up and pull down the price. But they can't hold the price down for long. They can't manipulate precious metals much longer. It's just not going to happen. They can keep printing money, which they're going to, and they're going to do it purposely to push towards this big global crash and to crash the dollar and literally to push us into precious metals. I just saw that they just launched a crypto called USAT? Yeah, United States of America Tether. Which I'm not an expert. I don't know, but I just saw somebody talking about it and said it was backed by gold. If that is true, then that'd be something really close to watch as well, because we're going to be pushed into that whether we want to or not. So it's always good to hop aboard that train so that you make money off of it when opportunity presents itself. Going back to all this, have things physically. Like I always say. This is why I say you should always hold on to your precious metals, in a safe, bury them in the backyard, whatever you need to do, but you should have access to them. Because if there was a major cyber attack and everything went to hell, you think they're going to mail you your silver? Do you think you're going to be able to go to the bank to access your silver out of a security box? Not really. You should have something and a little bit of cash on you. It's always a good idea to have cash on hand. Just in case, you never know, especially due to this next prediction coming up next. I feel that soon we are going to witness massive cyber attacks, and I feel that there is some type of a computer virus that's already been placed within millions of systems across the globe just waiting to be activated. With some type of a remote activation or computer activation would be more likely the case, right? Kind of reminds me, makes me think of what, that Middle Eastern country did with the pagers and made them go boom, right? Kind of reminds me of that. Like this has already been implanted in software, already put into place. I wouldn't doubt if it's the same vultures that are doing this. Could even have to do with China. I don't know. Spirits didn't give me that information. Just the feeling and the strong feeling that there's something placed in millions of devices. My feeling, too, is I have an older iPhone, so I'm not going to be trading mine in anytime soon, that's for sure. But it also can be sent to you according to the spirits through other means, through emails and things like that for older devices. So watch what you're opening up and watch what you're doing, because it might not cause something to happen right away, but it may be placing something on your system for later. So make sure you do backups of everything. That's the other thing, cold wallet for your cryptocurrency. Do not lose that. Do not break it, because I've had clients that lost their passwords and couldn't get back in and lost all their money. Or didn't lose it, they just can't access it. What good is it if you forgot your password? So you got to make sure you have everything on backup, friends. Everything. And we even seen Klaus Schwab from the WEF say it. The world will endure a great cyber attack, right? Did he not say that? They tell us ahead of time what they're going to do. And we're in that time period. And we're in that 1 year. And numerology, the things that didn't end last year will come to an abrupt halt this year. And of course, the globalists are using this to their advantage. But in the end, the light will always shine. We will come out. There's going to be huge shifts. All this chaos that we're heading into leads to this light at the end of the tunnel. We have to go through this in order to awaken people. I see it all the time in the comments. People are just so oblivious or so stuck on one side of the fence and not the other, and not willing to look over the other side of the fence, if you know what I mean. That needs to change, and it will change. And it's going to take a great, great shaking upon the entire planet that forces humanity to change. I said it 20 years ago. That's what Spirit told me. Mother Earth will be the one. She is the one that's truly in charge. So I'm not saying that all these things are going to happen in the month of February, but February is a great activation. It's a great kickoff of these globalist, of what we can call the globalist football game, right? It's their kickoff. But we're going to win the game. In the end, the globalists will lose. And March is going to be even more intense and more vulnerable when it comes to cyber attacks and such. So just be aware and always be prepared. When we hit the latter part of February, mainly the final week of the month, and more so the month of March, we are going to see things really breaking down. And that could even be personally. Could be your washer, your dryer, your car. We will see more major issues with airlines and airline delays due to weather systems, delays due to earth events like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, and delays due to potential computer outages, which feels to me more like computer attacks on airlines or cyber attacks on airlines. Gives me a flashback. Was that last year or the previous year? I lose track of time. Yeah, some type of outage with the computer systems. Now, Spirit's giving me that too right now. The Amazon systems, their servers that serve and do all the medical stuff. And, a lot of medical offices, hospitals rely on those Amazon servers. I see a hit to that. I don't necessarily feel that it will be February. It could be the end of February, but I'm thinking more early March. So people in those fields that rely on those servers and those Amazon servers, beware. Be prepared and know that it's going to happen. Check weather and check earth reports first before doing any kind of travel, and just expect potential delays no matter what it is you are doing from the second half of February into the whole month of March. Don't be scared, be prepared, and be aware. We are going back into this window of accidental prone energy once more in the late month again of February into the month of March. So really the last week of February, but we'll probably start to see it in mid-February and then throughout the whole month of March. So be very, very mindful, friends, because we are definitely going to hear of more folks having falls, bad falls, And it is winter, so if there's ice and there's elderly people, run to the store for them. Make sure they're not going out on their own, because it could be a lot of bad falls. Surgeons will probably be overwhelmed with falls. And it may not just be people slipping and falling. It could be all other kinds of falls, slips and falls. Beware. And folks also having a lot of fender bender accidents with their motor vehicles or motorbikes. And even bicycles, and people being hit on bicycles. So please be just very, very mindful when you're out and about. Very mindful. A lot of accidents we're going to see around airplanes and even on runways with airplanes. Don't let this deter you from traveling, because I'm traveling and I'm not letting it bother me. I see some type of a collision taking place on a runway. I had a vision and I saw a plane engulfed in flames. It reminded me, I saw this 2 years ago? And then it happened right afterwards to our friends in Japan. The exact vision I described. It kind of reminds me of that. I saw this plane engulfed in flames, and I saw people fleeing the scene, and I see that they're covering up their faces like to avoid the smell or the smoke or whatever, because it felt like it was very toxic smoke. And I feel that it may be somewhere in Asia. Perhaps Japan, Philippines, which again, that's all just a guessing location. I really don't know. I just know what I saw in the vision. And the smell, I could smell the burning of whatever it was. It was nasty. I could see why people were covering their faces. And I feel that we are going to be hearing of some type of an accident revolved around a United States military operation. Some type of helicopter accident that involves helicopters. I kept seeing in the vision the number 13. I'm not sure how this is related. I don't know if 13 is a date, maybe a number that's on the chopper or one of the choppers, because I feel like there's multiple involved. Maybe it's a number of passengers or survivors. Not clear. But we'll be hearing about that in the very near future. Feels like it may be something that's happening over near the Middle East too. Like it's, one of their little test operations that goes sour. With February and March's accident-prone energies, again, be mindful when you're out on the roads, friends. Whether you be driving, whether you be on foot, whether you be on bicycle or tricycle. When there is bad weather, avoid driving at all if possible. Major weather systems are going to have drivers and passengers in another vision I had, stuck on highways. Literally. In one area, they will call for people to help because they're snowed in on the highway and on the roads. Can't get out. One of these might be in China. China just popped in my mind too. Something with China with a massive storm like that. But I feel like here in the States too, there's also going to bring about many pile-ups. We're going to hear a lot of pile-up with vehicles. That's why I tell you to be very mindful. And remember, there's still at least over 6 weeks left in winter. I don't care what the groundhog says. It's going to be winter till March 20th when we hit spring equinox. So enjoy it, because summer, I assure you, is going to be extreme, extreme heat. And I do see huge snow systems still hitting Japan, even Tokyo, and several yet that are going to hit United States, Great Britain, and of course China, because they just brought that up. So we're only not even in the middle of winter yet. Almost in the middle, but not quite. So be safe, be mindful, friends. Another thing heading our way is going to be a major record-breaking outages. Some are going to be power outages, of course, due to weather and weather systems. I see some type of an attack happening on a small power grid. I saw this in the past vision, so perhaps it's now approaching, perhaps. I see a vehicle being used to plow into a power grid. Another power grid I see separately in a different vision. I saw these crazed men literally shooting with pow-pows, obviously, at the insulators of a power grid, trying to, I guess, cause it to short out in some way or another, trying to take out the power grid. I feel that one of these could be potentially in California. But the way Minnesota's going, I wouldn't doubt it'd be Minnesota either. Expect to see huge outages and issues when it comes to social media platforms in February. I feel a big hack is coming to TikTok and other platforms, including Meta. Expect cell phones and even internet outages here in the United States and issues across the globe in February, especially when we get into the latter part of February and we step into that Mercury retrograde energies. It's going to be really intense. And other places that jump out at me really strong as far as outages is Japan, United Kingdom, parts of Canada, Israel, and Australia. Cuba, of course, is a hot mess right now. And I see their grid is already down, I believe. But I see massive problems with Cuba, too. Man, that just came to me, so thank you, spirits. Not that that has anything to do with outages. And I would say all those places I just mentioned should expect there to be big technical issues, big cyber hacks, cyber attacks, and outages. All types of outages. So don't panic, it'll all be temporary. That's why it's really good to have cash on hand, friends, just in case. Because soon, not necessarily in the month of February, a massive widespread cyber attack is coming to the globe. And it's going to cause a global outage. So having cash on hand is, just something that be a really good backup plan. Something really to just be sure, just in case. Better be safe than sorry. I predicted a while back in 2025 that I felt we would not only have a huge flu season, which is happening right now, especially over in New York, I think is reported the highest in the United States right now. I also feel that there's some other type of respiratory illness. And I felt that there would be a breakout that would pretty much stay within the country where it breaks out at and not be a whole nother 2020 flashback, of course. I've always said that I felt that 2029 would be more likely of a year for a global pandemic to hit once again. And we see what's happening in India right now. And I'm pretty sure in past predictions I pointed to both Italy and China. And one of the things I said in the past is the globalists that like to control everything, that want a lot less of us living on this planet, would go after India first and China. Is that what's happening in India right now? They're closing off borders. They're doing the same things at airports that they were doing during 2020 across the globe. I feel that that's going back to my past prediction where I felt that there was going to be an outbreak, but it would stay within the area. I can't help but to think that Pakistan is somehow connected to this. I don't know how. I don't know if that means it's going to run into Pakistan and Pakistan's going to have an issue with this big outbreak that's happening in India. I'm not sure, but we'll have to hopefully tune into that later. But as far as outbreaks, that outbreak's going to kind of stay there, and I do feel like there's going to be other new outbreaks that are coming. We're going to hear about one that breaks out in Africa sometime later this month or into the month of March. It's that time of year, flu season and outbreak season. Going back to California, because I have this feeling, as I said in the past as well, that California is in for a really, really rough time. Beginning this month and lasting, for the next couple years, actually. And I feel that there's this major earthquake activity that is going to occur along the west coast from California, from Mexico, really, to the southern peninsula, to all the way up to Vancouver Island. I feel like a lot of activity we're going to see there. And we're going to see a lot of activations right around Japan in the northern part of Japan. I also feel that at some point in either February, moving into perhaps early March, that we are going to see a record-breaking earthquake. This record-breaking earthquake could very well be connected to California and some of my past visions of California. I saw this vision this morning, actually, of literally a whole city just being swallowed up and crumbling. It was crazy. And I was like in it. In this vision, I was like there, and everything's just crumbling. Buildings, the earth's cracking open. And this goes back probably a few years ago to the visions I had and predictions I made 3 years ago that there was going to be a great rift in the planet Earth in several different places. One of them being somewhere along the Indian Ocean. One being over there in the Pacific near Japan, in that area of the globe. And another one here on the Pacific along this west coast of North and South America. And I feel like we may be feeling or seeing something related to that in the very near future, perhaps even in the month of February. It reminds me of the The past visions I had visions and channeled information of seeing the San Francisco Bridge swinging back and forth, which we determined as being an earthquake. That was about 3 years ago. Some of my predictions take that long to come into fruition. And I just feel like Spirit's pulling me to California, so if it's not a big earthquake that's happening, something's happening. Another thing, too, I had a dream not that long ago. I had this dream not that long ago, maybe a month or so ago, 2 months tops. And in that dream, I was in an earthquake in California. And it was on the coast. And some of you that have been following me will remember we were trying to figure out where this would be exactly. And I dug into it a little deeper today. Because in my dream, I was at a university, and the university literally crumbled towards the sea, and I fell in towards the water, and I was on a rock hanging on, and this shirtless guy came and pulled me up. Kid, actually. He was a young guy. I took as maybe being a surfer. We looked at universities all along the west coast in California. There's a lot of them. But then I put it together with my visions of San Francisco. And then I put it together with the video I just put out on Friday, the end of January, about the Economist magazine, where it shows the vineyard and the wine that's tipping over. And I didn't think of this when we analyzed that, but that wine tipping over to me would make sense of an earthquake. And then I looked even closer at, wine country and how that may be connected to San Francisco. And it just so happens that all the wine countries are right outside of San Francisco. Especially the Maritime Academy happens to be north of San Francisco, and that's right on the water. And even though it's a military academy, there's still school connection to that. And then there's the Sonoma Vineyards in California. So I think that might be where my dream was pulling me to. So hopefully this isn't happening at all. But I have a strong feeling if it's not the massive earthquake that's going to hit California in February, something big's happening in California. Not only that, the outbursts of protests that are about to hit us. By mid to late February, we're going to see protests like never before. Some of them will break out, I would imagine, in Los Angeles, California. And that would probably be in the mid part. I see a lot of chaos and just feel like California is going to be dealing with a lot, including a lot of fires spread, and these fires could be potentially caused from an earthquake. We're going to see, according to Spirit, 3 major earthquakes coming up in the near future. Likely again February, March at the latest. I also see a massive volcanic eruption, which is in my past predictions, but I feel like, again, that's approaching. We're also going to see some activity around Yellowstone National Park here in the United States. It's going to cause fear and strike up alarms for people, but the spirits say, don't worry about it. It's just, an activation. The earth is activating, we're activating, our consciousness is activating. So very interesting times we are in indeed, and February is going to be quite the ride, for sure. Quite the show, quite the global stage. Keep your eyes peeled. It's going to be interesting. Probably Oscar award-winning show playing out in front of us throughout February. I had seen visions of huge, massive solar flares, and this goes back to past visions, and I predicted that we would be in this solar activity even going back 2 years ago. But today's Spirit showed me a large solar flare that is going to be really important. It's going to be important to the ascension of humanity, and it's going to be important in the aspect that it takes out an important satellite, perhaps multiple satellites. I don't feel like necessarily these satellites are falling out of orbit, but I feel like they're being taken out by a solar flare. We're going to see huge solar flares that are a huge solar flare, one giant solar flare, Spirit says. And I see that there's 3 small ones accompanied by the big one that follows. 3 small ones, and the 4th is the big one. And whatever that's directed towards the earth is where we're going to see outages and things take place. It's going to affect communications, and likely means it affects communications, the solar flare. That could be likely to happen in late February into March due to the Mercury retrograde, which also affects communications. So be aware, and when these huge solar flares come in, take some time to meditate and visualize those solar flare lights going through the top of your head. They are the light codes. Absorb them. It will help shift things in an amazing direction for you personally and for the collective. I see something around this, sounds crazy, I know, but happening around a runaway train or a runaway subway car. And it feels to me that this is bound for a terrible crash, of course. I mean, it was wild. It looked like something out of a movie, actually. And I'm not sure exactly where this is, but it really felt intentional to me. Very intentional. And it felt to me like the system was hacked in some way or another, causing this train car to completely lose control. Lose control of even being able to stop or even slowing down the car. And I see that the outcome, I don't see the outcome in my vision. I just saw the runaway train, but it certainly didn't feel very good. It didn't feel very positive. And this perhaps might occur because it could feel to me like it might be revolved around these war-driven countries, likely Europe, maybe something to do with even maybe in Germany or Poland. Felt like it could be targeted towards that part of the globe, but it did feel like a targeted attack. It almost felt like a terror attack, but it wasn't. I mean, it is, but it wasn't the kind that we would normally think. It was more of a cyber terror attack happening on a train system or a subway car. But it looked like more of a train, and we may actually be seeing this multiple times play out in the month of February, March, and in the coming months. Another thing to bring up is there's about to be a huge, great escalation in the conflict when it comes to the Ukraine and Russia, and the coming conflict that's about to hit in the Middle East as well, because there is a big conflict coming to the Middle East. Let's hope not, because that would really be the worst thing ever for the whole world. So let's hold in the light that doesn't happen. But as of now, that timeline shows that there's plans. The Middle East is about to kind of blow big time. Almost, Spirit shows me it's like a volcano erupting in the Middle East. Not literally, but metaphorically, says the spirits. So I'm not sure how to take this, other than that there's going to be huge conflict that's going to ignite and reignite in late February into March. The summer months are going to be even more prominent, especially the month of July. But July through September, that's a very prominent time for conflict as well. We are going to see 2 new conflicts ignite in the month of February. One of them might hit just in the very beginning of March, but the spirits tell me 2 big conflicts ignite. I also see tensions reigniting between Pakistan and India, but I don't necessarily feel like that's this month. That could be coming towards that window of time, July through September. Another thing is I see a lot of chaos around China. I see a lot of separation happening in China. I see a rebellion a revolution that's about to take place in China. And a lot of problems they're having with their military. I don't know what kind of problems, but that's what Spirit was giving me. There's a lot of issues. And when people are struggling for power or to keep power, a lot of times they start conflict. So we have to watch China very, very closely. And a few dates to bring up to you that jump out at me very, very strongly on the calendar. Starting with the first dates that jumped out at me the strongest was the 13th. Which I believe, isn't that a Friday the 13th? It is Friday the 13th. Ooh, spooky. 13 is a lucky number, actually. But Friday the 13th, February, and the 18th of February, and the 22nd of February. Those were the 3 dates that jumped out at me the most. And I would say that the 13th, the 18th, and the 22nd could be big dates where we see one of these conflicts ignite. Could also be where we see some type of a fear, terror attack take place. And perhaps even one of these big earthquakes that Spirit says is coming. Perhaps even the earthquake that hits California. Revolved right around San Francisco. Could it be Friday the 13th, the 18th, or the 22nd? I hope not, because we don't really need that in this world. But the earth's woken up and she's not very happy. She's going to shift things. And then I got that whole window of time, the 15th through the 18th. The 15th through the 18th. Let me bring my calendar a little bit closer here. What I want to look at real quick is just a quick look at the retrograde cycle. Because we start that pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. It's all in Pisces, by the way. Hold on tight, Pisces. Hold on tight. February 11th is the pre-shadow. The 25th is when we go into the deep doo-doo of the swamp until the 19th of March. And then we're in that post-shadow from the 20th of March all the way into early April the 9th. So going back to the calendar of February, the 15th through the 18th is the pre-shadow retrograde. That's the only reason I was just looking. I don't see anything else, but Spirit pointed to that window very strongly, the 15th through the 18th of February. The 27th also jumps out at me pretty strongly. This 27th of February feels to me like it could be a date where we see a lot of manipulations around the markets, whether it's precious metals, crashing of the markets around that time period, the 27th. So watch the markets closely around that time period. And then also the 6th, the number 6 jumps out at me for the month of February. So we'll have to watch those dates really, really closely, friends. And I have a Black Mirror prophecy video. Here's my Black Mirror over here that I recorded days ago, or actually earlier in the week. I will have that out later in the week, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to join me for Tittle Tuesdays so that you know what's happening in the world and how it relates to predictions and prophecy. That's what that podcast is all about. If you want just predictions and forecasts, well, you got that today. You'll get that in my Black Mirror prophecy. I'll have a top predictions video coming out. So if you're new here and you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, and great meditations and content, and you want to vibe with this tribe, smash the subscribe, the bell, and all so that you get notifications. Thank you so much for clicking the thumbs up button. And even those that do the opposite of that, they both help the channel, actually. I didn't know that, but they do. Both of them help the channel. So thank you for hitting that thumbs up love button, showing the time and energy that goes into this work. Sign up for the free newsletter down below where you can find out about everything that's going on and where I may be. I have an event coming up. Most of them sold out, but I still have an event coming up in Pennsylvania in March. I have a past life regression workshop that's virtual on Zoom coming up in March. A Messages from the Other Side event. Lots of stuff going on. Sign up to the free newsletter and visit my website at spiritmanjt.com. Thank you to all those that support and make this free content possible for everybody else. Until the next time, friends, I hope you have an amazing month of February. Ride that roller coaster or ride that surfboard because that wave's coming in like a pro surfer. And flow through this month with ease and joy. And until the next time, remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Much love, friends. Much love.